Right, okay, so the meeting got reconvened from closed session at 10:42 p.m. We have a report out from closed session. On closed session item 1A, the board voted to give direction to legal counsel related to two matters of anticipated litigation. The motion was made by member Agarwal and seconded by member Smith. The vote was 4-0 with both members voting as follows. Member Agarwal, aye. Member Smith, aye. Member Kigu, aye. And member Travis, aye. On closed session item B, the board took no action. On closed session item C, the board voted to take action as follows. The board voted to place one employee on paid administrative leave. The motion was made by member Smith and seconded by member Agarwal. The vote was 4-0 with board members voting as follows. Member Agarwal, aye. Member Smith, aye. Member Kigu, aye. And member Travis, aye. On closed session item C, the board also voted to place one other employee on paid administrative leave. The motion was made by member Travis and seconded by member Kigu. The vote was 4-0 with board members voting as follows. Member Agarwal, aye. Member Smith, aye. Member Kigu, aye. And member Travis, aye. On closed session item D, the board took no action. At this point, I'd like to introduce Lee Rosenberg from YNC. He has a couple of statements.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me this evening, to the members of the board. I'd like to just briefly address a little bit of context around Brown Act requirements, particularly around closed session, just so there's some understanding around what can and cannot be disclosed. It's important to keep in mind that all employees have a right of privacy. So when they're going through any sort of situation involving charges or complaints of any kind, employees have the right to privacy in their conversations and in the board's consideration around those issues. An employee can at any time choose to sort of waive those privileges and privacies and allow those to become public. Those are really in the prerogative of that individual employee to decide whether to waive that right of privacy or not. The Brown Act provides that except where closed session is called for, in those instances where there is, for example, employee evaluations or employee reviews, decisions being made about employees, except for those situations, otherwise the Brown Act provides for full opportunity for transparency for the public to attend any open meeting and have the right to provide public comment so that the member of the public can engage with the board as well as listen to the board. It's important to consider that the Brown Act is really founded on that fundamental principle of public engagement. Everyone has an opportunity to attend, but it depends on us all having that element of civility in all of our actions. It goes both ways, from both the board and members of the public. It's important that in all of our interactions, that we're never threatening, that we're never going beyond sort of what is really at the true element of free speech, the right to participate, but threats are never part of that right to provide comment. So it's important to take into account it's always a two-way street. And going forward, the board would remind the public that it does have a policy on civility, and it does apply both ways. Thank you.
Okay, we go to item number 5, flag salute. Stand. Ready, big. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So item number 6, community input on agenda items. The public may comment on items listed on the agenda, including the consent calendar, presentation, discussion, committee, and action items. Do we have any public comments?
Yes.
Please.
We also have, and then we have 2 forms. Two there, 2 online. Yeah, carry the list. There's only one thing there. Megan, and then there's one. Oh, one line. There's 2. Oh, okay.
Alrighty. Okay, it's funny how things change so quickly. Thank you for the first time that you're coming out of closed session in the last 4 months, with a report. Thank you for making eye contact with me. It's the first time you've made eye contact with our staff tonight. The women on the board, thank you for looking at us while we were speaking to you before you went into closed session. Our heads are spinning. We made a promise that this will not affect the kids, and that's what I want these parents to know on Zoom. Is we will always put your children first. We will be at work tomorrow, but our job is not done, okay? We have questions. It looks like there was gonna be an appointment of an interim executive director, and I think we wanna know, okay? In the charter school world, people wear many, many hats. Amy was at least wearing a hat of 4 individuals, if not more, doing the jobs of what 4 or 5 people would be doing in a district. We have huge reports coming up due on January 8th in regards to our funding. She was the one who was doing that. CalPADS, Aries, Tech, all Amy. David, at least 3 people. Custodial and maintenance, food services, making sure these parents' kids are fed. Facilities, strategic level, HR, and finance. As a staff, we deserve the right to know that whoever you feel can do the job of these individuals who you just escorted off this campus, we want to know their qualifications. I have sat personally with some of you on panels to hire positions. There is no reason why that shouldn't be happening moving forward. It's just a shame. It's a shame. And I don't think anybody sitting up here in your heart can call any of the staff who spoke tonight a liar. You know there's truth behind things. You know there is. You need to start realizing who has boots on the ground and where the power is. We're not threatening at all. We're passionate, and that's what drives change. And there will be change if I will continue to be part of this organization.
The next speaker is Colin Walden.
Yeah, you could wait us all out, but we're still here. My comment is on action items D, E, and F. All of these items lack the necessary details to make informed decisions, including a detail of the salary study, results, and recommendations, as well as a copy of the employment contract. Without these items, I compel the board to defer these actions until details can be provided, posted in a timely manner to allow for public review, and so the public is allowed to come and comment on them in front of the board with all the necessary details. Further, these items still lack the details that this board required and asked of staff when it was missing on agendas. Details as to the LCAP goals, funding details, funding sources, and budget and financial impacts. Again, something, as I mentioned, this board always requested be present. It is, again, interesting, and I mentioned this earlier, that you pick and choose which ones, the board does and does not have interest when these details are there. Given the actions tonight, this board must recuse themselves from appointing any board member to any leadership role of OPA. You must seek external guidance and work with your charter authorizers on a path forward. We are now without OPA's greatest leader, and students, teachers, and staff will eventually, if not tomorrow, in the future, leave. And this leaves yet another scar on OPA that appeared to be cleared from the controversy and scandal of the past. Cooler heads did not prevail tonight. There is no victory for OPA tonight. I will also second that I'm an eye contact person. I do so in my daily job at work. I did observe the board actions during closed session comment period. I appreciate that most of the board members made eye contact and were intently listening and taking notes of concerns raised. I also want it to be on the record that member Kagu never appeared to make eye contact and never appeared to be listening when a woman was standing here at this podium, but did appear to make eye contact when a man was standing here, yet still didn't seem interested based on his body language. I find this an apparent lack of disregard towards all speakers, especially women, extremely unacceptable and unbecoming of a member of this board. Something is still rotten in the state of Denmark, and it is still in this room. You didn't get rid of it.
That's all for, I think, we will have more for non.
Cool. Thank you. We do item number 7, items of consent. Item number 8, minutes from the regular meeting of the OPA Board of Directors on November 15, 2023, and personnel report. May I have a motion to approve items of consent?
I second.
Thank you. Any discussion on this? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll go to item number 8, items of presentation of subject fiscal update.
Next slide, please, Jonathan. I don't have a clicker up there. Thank you. All right, so jumping right into the financial presentation, we have here the 2023-24 first interim versus previous forecast. We have the middle school showing at the preliminary budget reflected in the previous forecast, showing a net income of negative $26,000. Currently in the first interim, we are projecting a negative $121,000. For SV, we originally projected a positive 185,000 net income. We are currently now at first interim presenting a negative $104,000 net operating income. For SOC, we originally projected a positive operating income of $318,000, and currently at first interim projecting a positive net operating income of $99,000. The next few slides will provide updates and the changes reflecting these changes. So the biggest factor for these for the changes in the first interim is enrollment and ADA. For the middle school, we originally budgeted 570 students, and we are currently at 536 students. For SV, we projected 533 students, and currently projecting at 501 students enrolled. For SOC, originally projected 676 students, and currently at first interim projecting 652 students. So we are still projecting a 97% ADA rate. So that reflects under the ADA. So again, for all 3 schools, we do see a drop there. And because enrollment and ADA is our biggest funding, this is why we have the majority of the lower operating income across all 3 campuses. Next slide, please. So to highlight the significant changes for all 3 campuses, so what does that translate? Lower ADA, lower enrollment. So for a middle school, that means for our LCFF funding, we are showing a reduction of revenue in this category of about $301,000. And this is primarily due to the limited enrollment that we were able to provide to our students because of the shared campus that we have here on site at Lake Forest. When we originally presented the budget, we were projecting 560 students, hoping to fit that many students. Given what we have now, we are limited in providing seats to our students. For SV, the lower enrollment and lower ADA reflects an almost $400,000 reduction in revenue. And again, that's because of the space, the shared space here with the middle school. That specifically with that, we weren't able to add a second grade entirely. And additionally, we had lower virtual enrollment. We originally projected about 30 students, and we're currently at about 14 students in our virtual program. And for SOC, because of the lower ADA and enrollment, we are showing a reduction of just under $312,000 in funding under LCFF. And this is primarily due to the registrar position being vacant at the beginning of the school year and therefore delaying filling the empty seats that we had at the beginning of the year. So with that said, then moving on to federal money. So we were recently awarded a Sure. No, you can ask questions.
I'm just curious, what happened at the moment? I understand it was explained, it's a space issue that I have asking about.
Yes.
What happened?
SOC, we did not have a registrar at the beginning of the school year. So when we had empty seats available, when students did not attend like the first day of school, we didn't have that immediate follow-up. Hey, we have an empty seat. Let's look on our wait list and get students in our seats immediately. We had that position vacant. It's not filled. So there was a delay in trying to get those seats back filled. So there was a delay in that. Yes.
Is there any reason why we would have a temporary service or something to come in and do this work for us? I don't know if that's a HR issue or no, there's no reason why.
So moving on to federal revenue across all three campuses, we are adding an additional $50,000 for a COPS grant that Dr. Amy Kernan secured a couple months ago. And so we are adding that to the budget. We are also adding to the middle school an additional $18,500 for field trips. And for SOC, we're adding an additional $30,000 in the budget to reflect interest that we are receiving from the county office. So all in all, the middle school is currently projecting a lower revenue of $233,000. SV is projecting lower revenues of $350,000, and SOC is currently projecting lower revenue of $232,000. So moving on to expenses. For benefits across the board, we originally projected that budgeting conservatively, we budgeted that everybody would sign up to receive benefits here at OPA, and not everyone did. So we had savings there across all three campuses. We also had savings with our workers' comp insurance, saving us money across all three campuses. So the actual money now, because it's split with three campuses rather than two, our savings were a little bit higher there in that area as well. For books and supplies, we are reducing the expenses there for middle school, specifically in curriculum materials. And that's because a lot of these materials were already provided with the previous campuses with FB and SOC. So a lot of it was able to transfer over to the middle school. So we had savings there. For SB, we are adding an additional $8,200, and that's primarily due to non-capitalized equipment such as your classroom furniture. For SOC, we are adding an additional $177,000 for non-capitalized equipment such as your classroom equipment. And the reason why SOC is a much larger amount is that we originally but thought that this purchase would be a capitalized purchase, meaning that it would be reflected in the balance sheet and we would only show the depreciated amount in the income statement. That's not the case. So now we are fully showing that expense on the income statement. And so we're adding an additional $177,000 to capture all expenses for the remainder of the year. Under services and other operating expenses, we are adding an additional $122,000 for the middle school. And this is represented with legal fees, repairs and maintenance, field trips, and special education travel expenses. For SV, we're adding an additional $109,000, and this is reflected due to legal fees and special education contractors. And for SOC, we're adding an additional just under $29,000, which represents legal fees. And so for middle school then, lastly, depreciation, we are reducing the budget by $30,000. And that's because we did not purchase everything that over the summer that we were anticipating. We kind of pushed some of the expenses later in the year until we received, our first special advance apportionment. So some of those purchases have been delayed. Therefore, the depreciation expense is also won't reflect a full year's worth of depreciation. For SV, we are adding an additional $15,000 depreciation, and this is due to increased capital improvements and equipment for the campus here to just kind of get it up and going for the into transitioning the school from a K-8 to K-5 school. And then for SOC, we left depreciation alone. So all in all, for middle school under expenses, there were savings of $137,000. For SV, there were savings of $61,000, and SOC had savings of just under $13,000. So even though we had reductions in revenue across the campuses and still savings across the expenses, SV is still showing a projected ending fund balance of $5 million, and SOC is projecting an ending fund balance of $6.9 million. The middle school is projecting a negative $198,000 fund balance amount. And that's, that's kind of normal given that it's the first year of the school. So it's expected to be running in the red the way that it is. Any questions?
Yeah, I'm not, I don't recollect knowing that our middle school enrollment dropped that significantly because we are on a shared campus, and I don't recollect knowing that SV lost an entire second grade class. So that is a surprise that at least I didn't know about. I don't know about you guys. And then in terms of legal fees, because that was brought up by public comments, there are legal fees that are incurred because the board is seeking legal counsel. But then there are also legal fees, and please correct me if I'm wrong with Palmino, the legal fees that, for example, Ms. Rupert, you reach out to legal counsel. There's litigation related to special education services that we provide, right? And we need legal counsel for that. And then we also have legal counsel for Prop 39 negotiations and so on. So I just want, I know that was brought up as a concern, and clearly that's something we will provide clarity to, but legal fees is not just related to anything that, for example, the board is seeking legal counsel. I just want to clarify that.
And then I'd like to ask a question regarding our interpersonal loan. Inter-school loan. And really want to understand, given these changes, are we still on track? Are you factoring that in to this as well?
Yes.
Okay, so that is factored into the middle school.
I think that's coming up. Yes.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Likely. So speaking of the middle
Thank you.
school line of credit, we have been regularly updating the cash flow analysis spreadsheet. We discussed it over during finance committee. We've made a couple of significant changes to the spreadsheet. And so that does currently reflect the changes made presented today for first interim. So that has been completely updated to reflect those changes. Currently, there has been no draw on this line of credit. The bank automatically placed a 2.1 million hold on our checking account balance, and we will continue to monitor cash position for each school. So, yes. Any other questions?
Is this true? Can I please request that we receive your PowerPoint in our board folder prior to the meeting, so we have a chance to review it? It was not in this time, and so I did not get a chance to review it until this meeting.
Not sure why it wasn't there, but
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I think if you go to the previous slide, one of the things that we did get approval for a line of credit. I think we reported to the community and people. Ms. Palomino said we haven't drawn the line of credit.
It's great.
But we've had to draw money from the OCD bank for.
And that's in Chase.
Commerce.
Yeah, so we had to move money from OCD to the group, and so Ms. Palomino is using the spreadsheet to make sure that, for example, the $2.1 million of cash we have in Commerce Express we cannot use. And so she's monitoring it to make sure that, like what happened in September and October and November, where we borrowed money from the school without approval, we won't have that going forward.
And the reason that we didn't have to into this line of credit is because the checks that were anticipated.
And then the two loans from the SV.
And are you still anticipating all the rest of the funding coming in on time, or are you anticipating any further delay?
As of right now, we're anticipating it as scheduled with no
Okay.
delay as of right now.
And I really do appreciate the cash flow document, especially in our report. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you, sorry. Okay, go to items for action, item number 9, I approve registers for the November check register, September credit card register, October credit card register. And November credit card register. It's recommended the board of directors approve action item A 1 through 4. May I have a motion?
I make a motion.
May I have a second?
One second.
Any
Me.
discussion?
Sorry, I didn't know if you heard me.
Any discussion? Member Agarwal and I got to review the registers at finance committee yesterday.
Mhm.
So,
And then I also wanted to mention that all of our finance meetings are recorded and are available for you to look at any given time. You can look historically, you can look up to whatever's next. We do not post anything that is posted by staff. So if there's any challenges with postings, please reach out to the staff. That's not something in our purview to do. So if there's any questions, thank you.
okay, any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we've got item number B, approve 2023-24 first interim budget reports. For the middle school, Saddleback Valley and South Orange County, charter schools are required by education code 47604.33 Assembly Bill 1137, chapter 892 statutes of 2003. To submit budgets and interim reports to their chartering agency for review. Recommend the board of directors approve action item B 1 through 3. May I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve action item B 1 through 3.
I'll second it. Any discussion? It's the variance that Ms. Palomino shared that shows that our net incomes are changing dramatically from what we'd anticipated when we started.
Yeah. I would just reinforce the board's support around accurate forecasting. And also doing whatever we can if we have vacant positions to ensure our enrollment does not suffer because of it. So if that requires more resource, I think the board would certainly be supportive of that if it's brought to our attention. So I just wanted to throw that out moving forward.
If you need more staff in order to do the registrar or make your school run, we are in support of that.
We need a nighttime custodian.
I'm sorry?
We need a nighttime custodian.
Absolutely. I
Well,
mean, it's not in our purview to do.
Well,
It's-
no. So, was he gonna say something?
No, I think, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Okay, we go to item number C, approve revisions to the 2023-24 OPA employee handbook. To be in compliance with California employment law provisions and updates effective January 1, 2024, and to meet the needs of Oxford Preparatory Academy, the following revisions to the 2023-24 OPA employee handbook have been made. 1, probationary period policy. Number 2, reproductive loss leave policy. Number 3, revisions to sick leave policy. And number 4, service animals policy. Recommend the board of directors approve action item C. May I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve action item B.
May I have a second?
Well, second.
Are we gonna have, Eva, are you presenting on this?
There's no presentation, but I can answer your question. I can touch upon those 4 items that are the handbook is amended for. 2 of them are brand new passed legislations that are starting on January 1st. So we wanted to make sure our handbook reflects that. Those are reproductive leave loss and revision of a sick leave policy. And the other 2 items, probationary period policy and service animal policy, those are the items that we really wanted to add to our handbook for a while now. It was in regulation vision that we're taking time to start to put it there. Just want to put it on record that the handbook was reviewed by YMC, and they, all the changes and revisions were provided by YMC. So, and The, bracket red line version should be in the board folder for you to do the actual changes, that's really probably.
And I appreciate that. Thank you, Eva.
I believe our legal counsel has also reviewed these. Okay, anything else any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Okay, we've got item number D, a board approval of compensation comparability study for interim executive director position. So I have a statement to read before the board can vote on it. Topic, the California Nonprofit Integrity Act of 2004 mandates the board of directors review comparable executive compensation packages for educational executives upon any of the following events. Initially upon the hiring of educational executive, or whenever the executive's term of employment is renewed or extended, or whenever the executive's compensation is modified, unless the modification extends to substantially all employees in the organization. See Government Code 12586G. In connection with the board's review of the Osprey Academy interim executive director's employment agreement, the board must meet this due diligence requirement for reviewing and adopting a comparability study. This review is essential in order to protect OPA as a corporation and the board from IRS sanctions for excess benefit transactions, and to establish a rebuttal presumption that the educational executive's compensation is reasonable. Thus, the board must meet the criteria set out by the IRS conducting this review prior to any of the above changes in employment occurring. This review must occur without the participation of any individuals who possess a conflict of interest. Under the IRS regulations, any employee under supervision of the interim executive director are automatically conflicted and must recuse themselves from any participation whatsoever in any aspect of this process. Accordingly, outside counsel has produced the compensation comparability study for the board's review. I think the board has a copy of it. The board's chair recommendation, based upon the above requirements, recommendation that the board review and accept the report reflecting comparable compensation. May I have a motion to approve action item D?
I make the motion.
For a second,
Second.
okay, any discussion?
What was the process for the compensation comparability study?
Our council at YMC did the study. Could you speak to it? The compensation study.
Yes, the compensation,
Come here.
So they can hear you.
yeah, sure, certainly. The compensation study is a document that is prepared based on research as to other similar positions out in the market. So that would be looking at schools with similar size population and the executive directors and similar positions staffing those schools. That creates a baseline against which OPA is able to consider proposed contracts to ensure that those compensation recommendations are in line with what is essentially market. Does the board have any other questions? Yes. Yes, it can be made, copies can be made available for inspection in the office. I mean, if there's any copies available right now, you could leave some out on a table. Copies can be made available tomorrow morning in the office, up to the board.
We can approve the board folder tonight.
No, it's not.
I'm sorry, the public, I mean, the board meeting folder, for the reference documents.
For, on the website.
Yeah.
So,
And you don't post to the website.
yeah, we do not post to the website.
We can give a hard copy tonight.
We can have, do we have a hard copy available?
I can print it.
Okay. We'll have a hard copy of that.
Yeah, Jonathan, can I send it to you? Can you print some copies for us? Thank you. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I'll go to board, action item E, board chairs required oral report regarding interim executive director employment contract. I will read that out again. So as to the next item regarding approval of interim executive director's employment agreement, I'm required by law to indicate prior to any vote on employment agreement, the agreement provides the following. Workdays for the interim executive director shall be part-time on an as-needed basis. An hourly rate of 125 per hour, not to exceed 50,500 per year. Sick leave to accrue at the rate of 1 hour for every 30 hours worked. I'll also note that the annual salary is in keeping with the compensation compatibility study the board has received. May I have a motion to approve action item F?
I second it.
Okay, any discussion?
We're on, we're on E, we're on E. Yes, we're on E.
Can you amend the motion to approve action item E?
Yeah, sorry, I make a motion to approve action item E.
Remember, Agarwal will second. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We go to item F, board approval of interim executive director employment contract. Member Travis, you had,
Yes, my computer stopped working, so pardon me while I read off my cell phone. I have a bio for a summary of our new executive director. Our interim executive director. Yeah,
okay,
we asked for civility.
we'll, you can submit a comment card and you can make the comment after. Go ahead.
Okay, our interim executive director is Dr. Charles Hinman. Comes to us with over 30 years of experience in education, retiring as superintendent of West Covina Unified School District. Most of his career has been spent in Orange County, working with leadership roles in Capo, Saddleback, and Newport Mesa. As superintendent, he has worked closely with San Jose Charter and the California Virtual Academy of Charter Schools. Recently has served 2 terms as interim K-8 superintendent in Fountain Valley and Westminster. Dr. Hinman earned his doctorate at University of Southern California and still sits on the Rosary School of Education Dean's Advisory Board and is active member of the Southern California Superintendent Organization. Dr. Hinman is a published writer and has sought out several speaking engagements. In doing his due diligence, Dr. Hinman feels that OPA clearly aligns with his personal beliefs as an educator that all children can learn at higher levels. As a strong advocate for professional learning community, he is impressed with OPA's commitment to student learning through this theory of multiple intelligence and our champion profile.
I have a motion to approve the executive director's employment contract. Thank you, Mr. Smith. I'll second it. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we've got item number G, potential reading of statement of charges against employee. If requested by employees recommended. Oh, so this one, item G, is no longer applicable because,
Read it again.
Yes, can I?
sure, potential reading of statement of charges against employee if requested by employee. This was the opportunity for employees to have the statement of charges read out aloud in open session, and both employees have not opted to do that. So this action item is void and not necessary. Yes, they were given a notice yesterday for the option to
Like what?
Again, please submit your again, I can't speak to personnel matters as the legal team said, so I can none of us should be speaking about personnel matters unless those employees waive that privacy, which we cannot. They haven't waived it, so we cannot speak to it.
Well, we don't have to answer. It's
Sorry?
not for the signing.
Okay, so the item number G is null and void. So we don't have an executive director's report. Let's go to director's report. Member Smith?
again, apologies for my voice. So I'd sincerely like to thank everyone who's shown up tonight and participated. I truly hope for the same level of interest at future board meetings. As I come upon my 3-year anniversary as a board member, I would like to report that I have volunteered countless hours to this organization, serving in this uncompensated, demanding, and very complex position. I'd also like to report and help you understand, because maybe many of you don't know me and haven't seen my bio on the website, that public education is my full-time profession. My master's and my doctoral degrees are in educational leadership. I freely apply my professional knowledge and skills within this organization for the good of our students. In conclusion, I'd just like to report that I remain committed to the reasons I take time away from my family and other interests to volunteer here, which are to contribute to the community in which I live and advance student success. I sincerely wish everyone a happy, restful holiday. That's all I have.
I'd like to say a few words, obviously. I've had some, excuse me, I lost my mother last week. I'm very emotional. This is a very emotional position. I showed up tonight, not because I was demanded to. No one asked me to be here. I know what my obligations are, and I am committed to this school. And you guys who have known me for 12+ years know my commitment. I don't know how much more blood, sweat, and tears I can give to the school to show you my unwavering commitment to our students, to you, to all of us. And so my emotions are strong because there was some thought that I would somehow do something dishonest or not in the best interest of this school. So I'm going to read my comments, but please excuse me for my emotion. It is a very tough position to be in, to lose your parent and then to be dealing with this on top of everything. But my commitment is to my board mates who I respect, who I've been with for 3 years, who have, I didn't know them. They are not my friends. They were not my friends. We didn't know, we don't have friends in common. We have nothing in common. We don't even have kids our same age. Delight and I don't even have, our kids aren't even friends. So there is no, there's nothing here. They have earned my respect. And those of you who know me should know that I don't give my respect without anybody who doesn't earn it. And I have never been afraid to speak up. I have never been afraid to speak on your behalf. And the allegations that are made against my board mates, particularly Mr. Cuckoo, I mean, those of you who know me I would never tolerate someone speaking to me in the way that you guys are saying that he speaks to us. I fight, it rates against my sense of justice that these allegations are being made against someone that I work with on behalf of this school, who donates his time as well as Miss Travis and Miss Smith. So it is inside me to defend when I see an injustice, and that is one of them. I've been at OPA since the first year we had our own campus in 2012. For those that don't know me, I started as a classroom volunteer, then honor society, and finally here on the board of directors. I always say I bleed a little teal, and I think you guys have all heard me say that. I've been here since the beginning. This is an organization that I care deeply about. We do not get paid 1 cent for our time. There is no benefit to our doing this job other than to put our time and effort into an organization that we believe in. And we believe in you, our staff, and our students, and we will show up every day, just like you do, for our students and for our staff. I have come to respect my board mates, the people that are sitting at this table, including Miss Henry, to respect them and their high ethical standards. I don't know what else I can do to prove my commitment to you. I hope that you hear my words. And I hope that you put your anger away from people who don't deserve it. And Mr. Kugu is one of those people who do not deserve the things that are being said about him. None of them do. And I don't know where you're getting your information from, but I stand here and tell you that this is not happening. He has not been disrespectful to us. I can't, and I think people can attest to this. So please, if you have a question about when I come back from a meeting, because I have to go to the bathroom because we've spent 3 hours working through stuff for this school, and I have to go to the bathroom, it is not because Mr. Kugu yelled at me and I need to compose myself. I need to use the restroom. That is it. So please stop with the rumors. If you have questions, ask me. Please ask me. Ask any of us. We are open to talking to you. Thank you.
Not about you right now.
School member Travis.
Good evening, everyone. I am very happy to see so many members of our community at this board meeting, especially the members at SOC. I don't get to see you guys as much because I am primarily at SC and the middle school. But I'd like to take a moment and thank each of you for coming this evening and showing up for us and for our school and continuing to invest in our kids every single day. I personally have been a member of this community for 10 years. I was a founding family member at Saddleback Valley. I have been here at SD since before it opened. I helped with the very first lottery. I have 3 kids that have been at this school. And now I have one even at the middle school. In addition to my youngest girl at SB. OPA is an amazing special place. And every day I dedicate time out of my very busy schedule to care for this organization because I believe in it. I believe in what it stands for, and I have been for the last 10 years. To me, everyone on this board is trying to do right by our school, for our organization, and our children. And when I say our children, I mean all of our children. Because we are here for this organization. Every day we do that. And so I have repeatedly thanked you in my board updates over the years. I'm glad that each of you are here and I can personally thank you face to face for all the work that you do and continue to do every day for our kids, because it shows. It really shows. And it's what makes this place so special. It really is. So thank you all for all the work that you do. And I hope you have a wonderful holiday with your family.
Thank you, Member Travis, and I have a very, very short one. As I was hearing the public comments, as many of you alluded to, I do have a 5th grader at SOC. It's a little nerve-wracking to see teachers of my 5-year-old, my 5th grader here, and I appreciate all the comments you made. But I felt good when Chancellor Velasquez said you will be there for all kids, and so I don't have to be worried. I was initially thinking, should I keep my son home because I don't want you guys to take it out on him, but I appreciate it. Hold on, but I appreciated you reassuring me that you're going hold on a second, please hold on a second, hold on. I mean, I'm a father. Excuse me, I'm a father, and so I'm a father and I worry about my son. All of you guys have brought you brought him up in your comments to me, but I feel reassured when you said you're going to show up for my son. So I'm very glad for it, and I appreciate. Would you guys like me to finish my? I mean, but
let me make this very clear. As we're sitting here as professionals, we would never, ever let anything happen to any child in any form of retaliation. And my hope is that this board would never take on any form of retaliation against any staff member for the comments they have made.
We believe that the staff is coming from a place of concern for the school, and so are we. So I think I'll wish you all a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a Happy New Year. We will now, open it up to item number 12, community input on non-agenda items. The public can comment on items not listed on the agenda that are within the legal purview of the Board of Directors. Public comments, including email comments, shall be limited to 3 minutes per comment, with up to 20 minutes of public comment. Do we have any community input?
Yes, we have three, two here and one.
Okay.
Robert Barton. Oh, wait. Oh, what's, can you give us what we're allowed to, what?
Yeah, these are agenda items.
We're on non-agenda items.
No, can you take a look, please? These are not, this is regarding the things that you just voted on.
Yeah, this is not germane to the general.
Okay. So this will not be read.
This
This is fine. Okay. We would like to ask up Terry Dunham. She's still here? No.
Rumors happen because of a lack of transparency. So I would like to address items that have been alluded to by other speakers and make a call to action. I would like to call for the removal or resignation of Paul Kagoo. He has shown himself to be unprofessional, secretive, and I think a bully at times. He should not represent OPA. He should certainly not represent my middle school. My middle school has a theme of rise, respect, integrity, scholarship, and empathy. Of those four, I only see scholarship in his profile. Where is the respect for your executive team? Where is your integrity of transparency? And where is your empathy for how your actions have affected not only Mr. Barley and the women of the and Amy Kiernan and the other women, but by proxy, where has your empathy been for my students? Have you even been on campus since the ribbon cutting ceremony back in August? I wouldn't know because your presence certainly has not been of note. Ladies, you all seem smart and well-educated. I find it very surprising that you would allow anyone to treat Amy this way. I'm concerned about the example you are setting for the young girls at OPA by your silence and your tolerance for this vicious behavior. It is my hope that some of you can choose to do the right thing and call for a vote of no confidence to remove him. I think we should protect this school, and I think we should take corrective action. I think that you don't really know what you're doing. I'm very concerned you don't really know what you're doing. And I'm concerned that someone is coming out of retirement to line their coffers rather than to really support and understand this middle school. So because there has been a lack of transparency, there's no way for me to truly know whether or not you have done your due diligence. So I think the burden is on you to show that you have done that. Thank you.
One more comment?
Yes, we have a non-agendized item. I am not sure if this person's here. It's Alicia Alcorta. Are they on? Can you check if Alicia Alcorta is on Zoom and perhaps you can unmute? I can share, there's a brief statement on the form if you'd like to share what that says. Yeah. It is regarding restrooms. Our janitorial staff needs to be replaced. Restrooms are deplorable. And that was all that we written.
Thank you. Okay,
I'm sorry.
no, I think that's fine. I mean, staff has, it's staff review, so they can decide. Okay, so, we have to go into closed session briefly as well, and then we come and close our open session.
Okay.
12:05 p.m. There's a question about what we discussed, which is continuation of item A of the closed session agenda, and we didn't take any action this go around. I think we have a motion to adjourn today's meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn today's meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Chavez. May I have a second?
I will second.
Thank you.
I'd like to actually amend mine. It is actually 12:05 a.m. So I would like to adjourn our meeting on the 13th of December.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, all right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's it, meeting adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
Well,
Okay.